Hey everybody, it's Gene Marks and welcome to the inaugural edition of the California Society for CPAs Month in Review. The first story is from the Governor's Office of California. There's a press release from Governor Newsom who said that he had signed Senate Bill 180, which extended the California Competes tax credit program for an additional 5 years. The program provides tax credits to companies that commit to investing and creating jobs in California. And it's been popular. Since 2019, more than $1.8 billion in credits have been awarded to 271 businesses who committed more than $37 billion in capital investments and created more than 75,000 new jobs. Our recent recipients included Bosch Semiconductor and Element Biosciences. The administration is confident that it will be popular this year and will continue to be used by business. And the extension gives California continued flexibility to compete with other states for corporate expansions, manufacturing projects, and other major investments. So now that that has been extended, this seems like a really great credit that you want to make aware of for your clients. If they are eligible, they need to be investing, they need to be hiring, and then they can apply. And as a client advisory service and as a CPA in California, I think you can help your clients apply for this credit as well and take advantage. Anything you and I can do to help our clients save money, well, you know that's going to be appreciated by our clients. The next story in July has to do with the proposed SEC change to quarterly reporting, and it is not very popular. Investors are overwhelmingly opposing an SEC proposal that would allow public companies to require report financial results twice a year instead of quarterly. The SEC has received roughly 221,000 comments. It's a record, and an analysis found that 99% of those comments opposed this rule. Investors, institutional money managers, former SEC officials, and academics argue that quarterly reports provide essential information for evaluating companies and maintaining confidence in U.S. markets. However, supporters, including the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the Business Roundtable, and ExxonMobil, contend that less frequent reporting could reduce costs and encourage longer-term corporate thinking. The SEC estimates that quarterly reporting costs companies about $198,000 a year. Even if the SEC adopts the rule, many companies may continue quarterly reporting voluntarily because investors inspect it. No final decision or implementation date has been made. Got a couple of comments on this for you. First of all, I like the report saying that even if the SEC adopts the rule, many companies may continue quarterly reporting voluntarily because investors expect it. That's what I think is going to happen. I am not getting all crazy about this rule either. I really think that if a company has a history of reporting quarterly to its investors and to its shareholders, they're going to be pretty hard pressed to pull that back and only report a couple times a year. I also think that companies, in an effort to maintain on the highest level of credibility and to maintain their reputation, are going to stick to the quarterly reporting process that they're doing right now. Having said that, listen, quarterly reporting does put unnecessary stress on management to meet earnings, and that sometimes causes problems. Quarterly reporting can be expensive, and also if it's not an audit, in many cases there is a lesser value to that quarterly reporting than an annual report. I can see both sides, but I do think that decision is going to be left up to companies to decide, assuming this rule gets passed. I know there's a lot of opposition to it, so who knows? But if it does get passed, I do feel confident that a lot of companies will do what's right, they think is right for their investors and their shareholders. And most likely, they'll probably put the decision up to their investors and their shareholders as well. All right, my final story from the month of July that impacts you as a California CPA comes from ICE. And this is a report from Morgan Lewis, a large, of course, global law firm that's warning employers in the U.S. that they need to prepare now for increased Form I-9 enforcement. The law firm warns employers to prepare for the substantial increase in this Form I-9 verification. The White House border czar, Tom Homan, he has already discussed expanding inspections and referring potential violations to Homeland Security investigations, all although the proposed enforcement has not yet been formally adopted, but the warning signs are out. Employers typically receive only 3 business days after an ICE notice of inspection to produce their I-9 records. Compounding the risk, ICE has revised its guidance in March of this year so that many errors that were previously considered to be correctable technical violations are now being treated as substantial or substantive violations. And the fines, they're not cheap, up to $3,000 per firm or employee when they're in violation. So what do? The law firm is recommending to its clients to conduct internal I-9 audits now, correct deficiencies before an inspection, test electronic record systems, reconcile I-9s with payroll records, and establish a rapid response procedure for any government inspections. Everyone, what a great opportunity for us from a client advisory service perspective, right? I mean, we have so many small and mid-sized clients that don't have the resources to do all this. And really what's needed is every employee at a company needs to have an I-9 with documentation that's less than a year old. It all has to be done. It all has to be printed out. It's got to be, manual because, well, it's the government. Here's where we can get involved as CPAs as a service. We can ensure that everybody's I-9s are up to date. In fact, we can even take the extra step to look at the government's e-verify system to make sure that all workers are good in a business. We can provide that documentation, print out the materials, and then if ICE calls, you can have your client say, call my CPA. You can say, fine, I have all the documentation ready for you. You can take that headache away from your clients. Literally, the government is saying that they're going to be increasing enforcement this year at companies. This is an opportunity that we can really do a lot for our clients. Okay, so let's recap this month's news that impacts you as a California CPA. Number 1, California now has extended their California Competes tax credit for 5 years. Could be an opportunity to help your clients. The SEC is grappling with a potential change to quarterly reporting. It's pretty much opposed by a lot of people, but it's still out there. You should weigh in as well, although I don't think the impact on our clients is going to be as big as a lot of people seem. And finally, ICE is starting to go after employees with more I-9 inspections to see if there's any undocumented workers out of business. Great opportunity for you as a CPA to provide a client advisory service. My name is G. Marks, and you have been watching our very first recap of monthly news that impacts you as a CPA in California. And I want to thank the California Society of CPAs for allowing me to do this. I'll be back with you next month with more news that will help you navigate both for yourself, your firm, and your clients around whatever issues are impacting you in the month of August. I'll be there with that news. I look forward to doing that. We'll see you then. Take care.